Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. So for today's discussion, our group, which is group 4, will present regarding the Piaget stage of cognitive development. So first of all, let me introduce our team first. We are from group 4. Our first member is Nozua. Second one is Munira binti Muhammad Nawawi. The third one is Nur Aiza Husna binti Sukini. And myself first, Siti Nuhida binti Abdul Qadir Kailani. So, Piaget theory of cognitive development. So, cognition refers to thinking and memory process, and cognitive development refers to long-term changes in this process. One of the most widely known perspective of regarding the cognitive development is the cognitive stage that been introduced by the Swiss psychologist, which is Jean Piaget. So, Piaget create and study an account of how infants and children gradually become able to think logically and scientifically. So the long-term development are really the focus of Piaget cognitive theory. So regarding his theory, the Piaget theory of cognitive development process consists of 4 stages, which is the sensory motor stages. The second one is the pre-operational stages. The third one is the concrete operational stage. And the fourth one is the formal operational stage. The sequence of the stages is universal across culture and follow the same invariant and change order. So all the children go through the same stage in the same order, but not all at the same rate. So I will explain for the first stages, which is the sensory motor period or the sensory motor stage. So this stage begins from birth to 2 years, and the children develop object permanence. Second one is the children acquire knowledge through sensory experience, which is dominated by motor and sensory activities. And the third one is during this stage, it was goal-directed or internationalization, which is the children own self know that the world through movement and realize that their action can cause things to happen in the world around them.
The next stage is pre-operational stage. This stage occurs during period between toddlerhood, which is around 18 until 24 months, until they are 7 years old. At this stage, they begin to understand more complex issues, but they are still dependent on their senses and focus on one dimension at one time only. Besides, at this stage, they also begin to use language, memory, and imagination, and also they only can understand the 2 concepts of presence or absence of any objects. The pre-operation stage can be divided into 3 stages, which are egocentrism, animism, and centration. For egocentric, children view the world from their own perspective. Egocentrism occurs when a child is unable to distinguish between their own perspective and that of another person's. At this point, they tend to pick their own view of what they see rather than the actual view shown from the other's view. This substage make it difficult for children to imagine how an object or scene might look when viewed from position other than their own. Next, we have animism. Animism is the belief that every individual thing in the universe has its own feelings and conscience. Children in pre-operational stage have animistic thinking, like they think toys, cars, furniture have feelings. So, children in this stage talks with their toys, cars, feed their toys, scold their toys, or any other things which had hurt them. The third stage is centration. Centration is difficulty in understanding the concept of conservation, which they can only focus one thing in one time.
Assalamualaikum. Hai dulu, hari Waalaikumsalam. Okey, hari ni Ibu nak bukit test kita test yang mana paling banyak air. Okey, Syah dulu. Syah, tengok air ni. Okey, yang mana air paling banyak air? Afra, yang mana paling banyak air? Okey. Okey, sekarang Ibu buka. Okey, Syah, yang mana paling banyak air? Afra, yang mana paling banyak air? Okey, Afra yang mana? Afra ini. Afra ini. Okey. Syah, mana paling banyak air? Ini kenapa banyak air? Apa ni? Banyak. Ini sikit ke banyak? Sikit. Ini? Kosong. Okey, bagus Syah.
From the experiment, we can see that the 2-year-old child cannot differ the smaller and bigger quantity as she do not understand the conservation concept yet compared to the 6-year-old child. The child that can understand the conservation concept will be consistent in their judgment and can tell the difference of the quantity. According to Piaget, a pre-operational child does not remember the prior and focus overwhelmingly on perceptual attributes in their decision-making process.
Next, the third step of cognitive development is concrete operations period. The age of the child is between 7 to 11 or 12 years old. In this step, the child has ability to think logically. Besides that, the child has reversibility, which means a child learns something that has been changed can be returned to their original step. For example, the ability to realize that a glass of milk poured into a bottle can be poured back into the glass and remain unchanged. At the same time, the child in this step is able to classify, which means the ability to identify the properties of categories, to relate categories to one another, and to use this information to solve problems. For example, the child is able to classify the objects based on their color, shape, or size. In addition, the child can see from another viewpoint. This could be opposite to egocentrism because the children not only care about themselves, they will not talk what they want to talk. They will start to notify another people.
Hai Iris. Iris, sini ada 2%. Sini ada sekeping, seringgit. Ya, mana lebih banyak? Ini. Sebab wang lebih banyak. Oke, terima kasih Iris.
From this video, we know that although Iris is already 10 years old, she still has not ability to think logically. Actually, 520 cents are equal to 1 ringgit. However, Iris assumes that the paper money is more valuable than coins. She does not realize that both have the same value. Therefore, from this experiment, we can conclude that the cognitive development of Iris is not achieved concrete operations period. That's all for me, thank you, and I will pass to next presenter.
The formal operational stage is the last of Jean Piaget's 4 stages that he proposed to describe how babies, children, and adolescents acquire their cognitive abilities. Around age 11 or 12 is when the formal operational stage starts, and it lasts until adulthood. Adolescents who have reached this stage are able to think abstractly by manipulating concepts in their heads without the need for physical intervention. Children that possess certain skills are considered to be in this formal operational stage. The first skill is deductive thinking. The youngster learn how to use reasoning in specific situations during the concrete operational stage. However, they are only capable of inductive reasoning. They begin to learn about deductive thinking in the formal operational stage when they are also understand its limitation. Inductive reasoning uses observation to make conclusion. Meanwhile, deductive reasoning works differently when it uses facts and lessons to make conclusion. For example, premise A says that teachers are strict. Premise B says that Mr. John is a teacher. So by using deductive reasoning, children will conclude that Mr. John is strict. Next, abstract thinking. Children will start to apply the logical principle to items and rules that they already know about when they reach concrete operational stage. But they will start to broaden their worldview more in the last stage, where they start to think more abstractly. They are able to use logic in situations that break the law of the nature. Lastly, metacognition skills. Metacognition is simply thinking about thinking. It is the capacity to examine one's own cognitive process, understand how it was formed, and perhaps unravel ideas that are illogical or subject to challenge. They can assist in rebuilding the cognitive process as if it were made of building blocks, giving a more stable structure, and at the same time, it will help in developing problem-solving skills. Okey Ayi, kat sini ada 2 keping duit. Kat sini ada sekeping duit. Kalau Abang nak bagi Ayi duit raya, Ayi nak yang mana satu? Ayi nak ini. Kenapa? Sebab
Nilai dia besar.
nilai dia besar, RM100. Yang ni nilai dia sikit. Nilai dia berapa ni? 10 dengan 5 berapa?
Mudah.
RM15. Okey, itu sahaja. Terima kasih.